Hi, I'm Sock Marionette, also known as Bargain Counter Argument, also available on Instagram. I'm a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about books. If you're like me, and I know I am, you like bookshelf tours. In fact, you may have even just been browsing around for bookshelf tours and surfed on in to check this one out. If so, welcome to the channel. And yeah, if you like what I do, then subscribe, like, comment, share, all this stuff. Or not, I am not the boss of you. So, bookshelf tour. I don't really have much to say to introduce this one because you're not going to be seeing too much of my face because you're going to be seeing a lot of the books. And yeah, so let's just do it. We're starting in a corner of my bedroom. The top shelf are all the books I have checked out from the library. Well, almost all except for one that I'm currently reading that's on the nightstand. I like to use my library a lot. If you have been to this channel before, or if you're nosing around, you will see that there's a whole playlist of book unhauls. And when I say book unhaul, I mean I'm returning those books to the library, which is also a good wrap up because when I return them, I talk about what I read and other things that I might have checked out from the library, objects or DVDs or whatever. And I talk about how I used the objects or how I liked the books or DVDs. And also I discuss if I chose not to read something, why, and if I DNF'd something, why. The only book here that is not from the library is, hope I'm pointing to the right thing, Whippoorwill by Shannon Sala, which is one that I actually own. Now, moving down to the next shelf, we have some Bentley Little. Bentley Little writes horror. He has a tendency to take something that is mildly annoying, like an insurance policy or a homeowners association or the post office, and turn it into just like this front for some sort of eldritch abomination and cosmic horror. And then I have some art, religious art. We've got Vishnu and Guanyin. And over here, the box set, see if I'm not sure if my finger is pointing in the right direction. The box set on the end, those are Harlequin Premier editions. And I read a lot of category romance. Well, actually, I don't read a lot of category romance. I have a lot of category romance that I'm hoping to read more of. And this box set was like a special promotion that they did. And it's just 12 Mills and Boon books that were republished in North America under the Harlequin imprint. And it's kind of a mix of things. And I'm going to probably do a whole video on that. It's probably not going to be a very long video, but I'm going to do a video and or reading vlog on that. So that's something to look forward to, I hope. Okay, and now we're going to move down to the next shelf. And this is just a mix of various books. I have dark romance. I have the Mind Screw series. Don't want to say that out loud. And I have hard case crime. I have some general fiction, some horror. I have Lights Out by Nevessa Allen and Pansies by Alexis Hall, which should go out in the hallway with my other romances, as well as Pestilence. That's the front for the entire Four Horsemen tetralogy. And next to it is Choosing Theo, which should also go out into the heartfelt hallway where I keep my romances. And then some YA, science fiction, fantasy kind of things. And my vintage books candle. And a piece of art that I picked up a very long time ago at a gallery in Old Sacramento. So then this next shelf is a mix of hardbacks, mostly trade paperbacks, and it's a lot of general fiction, thrillers, science fiction, satire. Just, it's a miscellaneous. It's mostly arranged according to size, if I'm being honest. And then we're going to go down to the bottom shelf. Again, it's more hardbacks, general fiction. There's like one nonfiction book there. Trade paperbacks. You can see my spiral bound notebooks, planners, like that. More YA and some large print. And then those side stacked books behind the ottoman are books where I inadvertently bought a middle book in a series. And I haven't quite decided how I'm going to handle those in terms of shelving them and cataloging them and so on. So that is this collection of books. Okay, in another corner of my bedroom, I have, this is a seasonal shelf. So right now we've got both snow and butterflies because it's wintertime. It's the first day of March, so we still get snow, but also the butterflies are showing up. And then this is just a Christmas ornament that I particularly like and don't want to put away. So this is kind of where I keep my spring hopefuls, and these are of the books that I own. And I had, just a few weeks ago, I put out the Byronic Book Club by Amy Rose Bennett. And then, a few days after that, the first book, these are not in order, Up All Night with a Good Duke, was picked for the not for Tea and Biscuits. Yeah, for Tea and Biscuits, the historical romance reading book club. And that's going to be the March read. And then also in this corner, to the left and down a little bit from those books, are the mass markets I have that I have already read and haven't quite decided what I want to do with them yet. And I just realized one of them's a dupe, or two of them are dupes with each other. So I could have actually done something with that. Anyway, obviously I haven't organized those very well yet, so. Okay, now we're in a section of my personal library that I call the Heartfelt Hallway, because this is where I keep my romances. And I'm going to, again, be off camera for most of this. This is the walking tour of the Heartfelt Hallway because it's kind of a strange space. I live in an older house, so we end up with these kind of funky little spaces that are fun to fill up and explore and so on. So we're going to do a walking tour. Hopefully it's not too shaky. So this is coming up from the stairs and down here. And we have these books here, which I'm going to go into in more detail in a minute. And then this is, we have a window at the end, obviously. And then this is a shelf I'm going to, again, talk about in more detail. So that's looking back toward the stairs. And this first door on the left is to my bedroom. No, dear. Okay. And this, oh dear. And this door is to a sitting room, which is right now kind of untidy. So I'm not going to go in there just yet, but I will later. Okay, so this is the Heartfelt Hallway. We got a strange angle here, but we're rolling with it. And on this shelf is probably about 3.5 feet tall. I'm 5'4.5", and it comes about to my hip. And this top shelf is actually, as you can see, it is 3 tiers deep. And we start with, this is all historical mass markets. Many of them are step backs. And if you're curious to see what I have and you want to set up a buddy read, or if you want me to read a particular book that you're interested in but not sure about, just leave a comment below and I will get to it sooner or later and do a video. So we go from Alexander, Victoria through Brockway, Connie, which she continues on the next shelf where we get through to D'Alessandro, Jackie. Then the third tier is Dare, Tessa, all the way through Graham, Heather. And I'm going to lower you. Okay, on the second shelf from the top, we start with continuing Graham, Heather through Henley, Virginia, continuing on to the next tier through Jeffries, Sabrina. And on the bottom shelf, it's Johnson, where's my finger? There's Johnson, Susan through Lawrence, Stephanie, who continues on to the next tier through Lindsay, Johanna, who continues on to the tall shelf that we're going to look at next. And we're starting with Lindsay, Johanna, picking up from the other shelf. And it goes, this top shelf goes to Mason, Connie, Maxwell, Kathy, and Neri, Penelope. Then below that we have Or, Sally through Taylor, Janelle. Now we're down to the next shelf, and the tier behind the front tier, the back tier, goes from Thacker, Shelley to Zerulis, Nancy. And I think The Last Waltz by her is actually more historical fiction than romance, but we shall see. Then I have some kind of oddball-sized historical romances. They're not quite trade paperbacks, but they're larger than mass market. And then 2 anthologies, which are kind of listing off to the side. I need to fix that. And then we have some trade paperbacks, hardbacks, some large print, and those are not actually in any kind of alphabetical order or anything. They're just there. Okay, and then the front shelf is time travel. So we have Timeless and Anthology through O'Day, Flannery, Constance. Okay, and now we're gonna lower down to the next shelf. Here we have contemporaries. This is mostly romantic suspense and a few family melodramas where rich people get up to bad behavior. I love that kind of thing. And then the double tier on the lowest shelf is paranormal. So an anthology through Showalter, Gina. Okay. And around the corner, we have this. The top shelf is kind of a catch-all. There's some ornaments that need to go into a different room. For my food tree, you can see there's a box of chocolates and a charcuterie platter and a bottle of champagne and so on. These 3 books are books I recently picked up at a library sale that I would like to get to sooner rather than later. And behind that is a shelf nook kind of project that I want to do, again, sooner rather than later. The next shelf down, this one is kind of a fun one. The Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut, which is a lovely used bookstore. For a while, they don't do this anymore, unfortunately. They were offering these romance grab books, and grab bags rather, and they also had mysteries and westerns and science fiction. Well, I bought one of the romance grab bags, and my first YouTube video was a live stream in which I opened it on camera and discussed what I found there. I will link that in the description in case you're interested. It's a mix of contemporary and historical, mostly historical, and I just wanted it on a special shelf so that, keep it together. And then this lowest shelf are some books I bought at a recent library sale, and I just haven't integrated them into the collection yet. Unfortunately, this corner of the Heartfelt Hallway is a little on the dark side. This is largely contemporaries and paranormals, but these are ones that are trade paperbacks or hardbacks. So on the top shelf, we have a lovely set of postcards that were a gift from Abby Jean. My Globe 11 color, which is a mythical tales from around the world retold. And as you can guess from the title, they focus on love. And then a recent acquisition from the Book Barn in Niantic was there's Megan. Gold Rush Creek or Gold Rush Ranch. I can't remember which it is. I'll put a thing here to explain that. Now we're going to go down a shelf. And here we have, I believe, Wicked Saints. I think that's paranormal. And Kissed is paranormal. I think those are anthologies. And then we have the Voices in the Snow tetralogy. What do they call it? Black Winter. The Black Winter tetralogy by Darcy Coates. You have a match. Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. You have a match. Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. I haven't read too much Elle Kennedy, but what I have read, I've liked. The Twisted Love series by Hannah Wong, and some modern rom-coms that you can see. This is just a combination of, I don't know, different things that are hardbacks and trade paperbacks. There's some paranormal, some dark romance. I'm not sure exactly what all of this is. I haven't quite organized it yet, but I will. And here we have a very special section of the Heartfelt Hallway. This is the romance candle, and that is Candy St. Valentine, who is not actually a Christmas angel. She is the angel of the Heartfelt Hallway. So she stays here all year round. Okay, so this is the sitting room where I do most of my TV watching, and this is my spinny thing, which is not spinning too fluidly right now because it's jammed up against the couch. It's a bit untidy in here. I have to confess to the truth of that. So this is the spinny thing, and as you can see, the top shelf is mostly stuffed animals. Here I have just a handful of mass markets that for some reason didn't end up in the Heartfelt Hallway. These are science fiction. I don't have a lot of science fiction mass markets, but these should probably go in the corner of my bedroom with the other science fiction, horror, etc. And then this is a thriller, which, yeah, that goes in there too. But they're not there right now. Now, if you look lower, everything else in here, I have some candles obviously, but everything else is DVDs. And if you are interested in a DVD shelf tour, I would be happy to do that. Just leave a comment and I can gauge the interest in that, because I know mostly people are here for books, not necessarily movies. But I do have another collection of books in here. Let's see if we can do this without too much trouble. Okay, now you can see how dusty my floor is. We also have, adjacent to the spinny thing, we have some horror. Not all of my horror, because you saw some of that in the other room. But we have some Stephen King, both Stephen King, the famous one, and Stephen R. King, who also writes horror, and kind of a horror by Joyce Carol Oates, and House of Leaves, and then an anthology called History is Dead, which is like kind of zombies through the ages in short stories by different authors. And as you can see, the rest of this particular bookshelf is occupied by cuddle toys. And okay, so yeah. So the cuddle toys are kind of here for now. More books acquired would mean less space for the stuffed animals on the shelf in this room. So thank you for joining me on this tour of the Heartfelt Hallway and the other places where I keep books, except for some nonfiction books which are downstairs, and I'm not going to do that today. One thing I did want to mention is that because these are tiered, as I discussed, what's underneath them, what's supporting them, are my category romances, at least a lot of them. And that's mostly Harlequin Presents and Candlelight Ecstasy. I'll probably do another video just about the category romances at some point. So if you enjoyed this tour and you're interested in more of what I do, of course you can nose around. Again, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, or not. I am not the boss of you. I thank you again for joining me, and have a good day or night.